Hello, everybody. I'm Abdullah Bobro. I'm back again. I've been away from my channel for a long time. I've been going to a lot of events and conventions. I will make a follow-up video on that very soon after. You can see I'm wearing a t-shirt here. This is a t-shirt that I have designed myself and I sell it on my Etsy. So the red triangle, of course, from the Palestinian flag. You have the Palestinian kufiya design. Anyway, I also want to talk about my new setup. Clearly, you can see that I'm standing up. I feel like maybe this way I can engage better and speak better and have better talking points when I'm speaking to you. And today's topic is about the recognition for the state of Palestine. So I want to go straight into it. A lot of people have been discussing this and having very negative views and very negative things to say. I think that's really, really stupid because our whole goal from the beginning, since the beginning of our colonial times, since the beginning of the colonization, is to achieve nationhood and independence and self-determination. And this takes us a step closer to that. We're not going to be able to achieve these goals without actually having recognition of the West. For me personally, I feel like the West have officially recognized Palestine as a whole. Yes, even though Germany didn't, but the UK, and which is arguably one of the most Western nations on Earth. Of course, I'm talking Western in the cultural sense. I mean actually geographically. Technically, everything's Western. But it's always been kind of like famous for its anti-fascism, whatever, democracy kind of stuff. So the recognition of these countries brings us closer to our statehood and our independence. And I wanted to ask these people, do you think that it would be better if they didn't not recognize us at all? Nobody recognized us. And I know that a lot of these people's arguments are, which is to say, well, we don't need the recognition of foreign countries to know our legitimacy. And I don't agree with that. Because, yes, even though we do legitimately exist, whether they recognize us or not, we will not be treated as a legitimate nation until these countries recognize us. We will not be able to have a military, will not be able to have our own currency, our own independence, our own borders, protected borders protected from immigrants. Immigrants, of course, being Israeli crazy settlers who are terrorists, by the way. But I'm saying I'm using this kind of dialogue. But you get my point. And yes, even though some of these nations have recognized Palestine with some very negative and backwards conditions, such as UK and France saying that they will only recognize Palestine on the condition that Palestine will be fully demilitarized, which is just a really brain dead thing to say. No nation on earth has the right to tell another nation to not have a military. We've not had a military since many years. We've never had anybody to protect us. That's why we got to this issue to begin with. Because Israel is allowed to have nuclear bombs, planes, navy, and a standing military, while we're not allowed to have anything. So what are people left to do to defend their homes? They're left to depend on themselves. It's not for another nation to give such a condition to another nation, especially one which is being actively colonized and oppressed and genocided. And this is just stupid. It's not a nation. If you know, no nation on earth exists without a military. Like, it's as if they're treating us like we did some huge, genocide. Like if we were like what the Nazis did and they demilitarized Germany, or if what Japan did and they demilitarized Japan. They're trying to compare us to horrible countries that have actually oppressed people and killed many people, and then were demilitarized as a result of that. But on the contrary, we are the oppressed group here because we have no military, we have no way to protect ourselves, and our lands and family are being stolen from us every day. So we Palestinians reject any kind of brain-dead idea that we have to have no military. That's not a normal thing to say. I mean, I can't believe they even said that, honestly. It's really stupid. Either way, they shouldn't. I don't think what they said will have any actual difference on the ground in Palestine. The bombs are still dropping. So we are a step closer to our goals. But one of the biggest steps we need to get closer in is stopping the bombs and the killing, the mass murder that's happening in Palestine. This is not going to stop unless the Western nations agree to stop selling arms to Israel in order to use on children. I don't think that's a very big ask or thing to ask. I think that acting like they're the democratic, free countries that they are, or that they say they are, they should know better than anybody else than to use oppressive means on a native population, especially when many of these nations themselves have, for many years, for many hundreds of years, uh, colonized and oppressed native peoples all around the world, including, of course, the United States, which saw the deaths of millions of Native Americans. And before I continue, I'm going off on a little tangent here. There are also a lot of people who say, well, the natives, they were fighting each other, they were savage, they were not peace-loving hippies. I never, I never believed that they're peace-loving hippies. Yes, they fought each other. They had kingdoms, they had chieftains, they had tribes, they had this and they had that. But to go and kill millions of them and then steal their land, I'm pretty sure that's different from natives fighting other natives because of disagreements. I'm pretty sure it's different than to go and kill millions of them, spreading diseases on blankets you sell to them, trying to kill them in every single way, shape, and form. To this day, Native Americans have the worst living conditions in the United States. Their reservations are not even allowed to arrest American citizens, so they're allowed to detain you for a certain amount of time. After that, they have to let you go. What kind of oppression is that? To this day, and even to this day, they have a lot of high rates of alcoholism and drug issues because the government in the past used to literally like use them as test subjects for these drugs, and they introduced alcohol to a people who were not drinking it, or maybe not drinking it as much or consuming it as much as the Europeans were, and it caused them to have many diseases such as alcoholism, and it leads to the deaths of many people. There are so many crimes that happen on these Indian reservations, and that's what they want to do to Palestine. They want to make us into reservations so that they can do to us what the natives, what the Americans and Europeans did to the natives, and that will never happen. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Quick wrap up, real fast, and please keep an open mind. We need to take every victory as we see it. We need to celebrate every victory that we see, even if it's a small victory. It's still a victory. Keep your head up, stay positive, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.